The rain tapped gently against the windows of the cafe, casting soft streaks down the glass like quiet tears. It was the kind of gray afternoon that felt suspended in time, where people walked slower, spoke softer, and waited for something they couldn't quite name. Amelia Blake sat alone at a corner table near the window. Her golden hair was tucked loosely behind her ears, strands damp from the drizzle. She wore a navy sweater, the sleeves pulled over her hands, as if shielding herself from more than just the cold. In front of her sat a small round cake, its white icing decorated with delicate pastel flowers. No candles, no friends, no family. Her fingers rested motionless on the arms of her wheelchair. The lower half of her body hadn't responded in 2 years. Not since the fall. A solo climb. A misstep. A lifetime changed in seconds. Today was her 27th birthday. Her mother would have taken her to this cafe, just like they did every year, sharing cake and laughter by the window. But her mother was gone now. A stroke had taken her last winter. Quietly, cruelly. Her father? Thousands of miles away, on a conference call in Switzerland, negotiating numbers with strangers in suits. Amelia exhaled slowly and lowered her gaze. She didn't expect anything. She didn't even want attention. But then, a small voice pierced the silence. "Is it your birthday? Can we sing with you?" Amelia blinked and looked up. A little girl stood beside her table, wide-eyed and curious beneath a yellow rain hat. She couldn't have been more than 6. In her hands, a rain-smudged drawing of a cat wearing a party hat. Behind her, a man froze in surprise, stepping forward with gentle urgency and placing a hand on the girl's shoulder. "Ava," he said softly. "We shouldn't bother people, sweetheart." The girl frowned. "But she's alone, Daddy. Birthdays aren't supposed to be alone." Amelia stared at them. This small, uninvited brightness in her day. The man looked to be in his mid-30s. Worn, but handsome. Soft stubble. Tired eyes. Kindness etched in the lines of his face. He met her gaze with an apologetic smile and began to gently steer Ava away. But before he could, Amelia found her voice. "Please," she said, her lips curling into a fragile smile. "Please do." A flicker of surprise. Then Ava beamed, dragging a chair to the table. The man hesitated, seeking Amelia's silent permission. She nodded. He took the seat across from her. "You forgot the candles," Ava said. Amelia smiled. "I guess I did." "That's okay," the girl chirped. "We can still sing." And so they did. Off-key, out of sync, but full of joy. Ava led with bold, enthusiastic notes. Her father joined in quietly, steady and warm. Amelia watched them, heart pounding, not from nerves, but from something far deeper. As the final line rang out, "Happy birthday to you," Amelia lowered her head, covering her mouth with her hand. Her shoulders shook. She made no sound, but the tears came anyway. Not just sadness, but from the piercing kindness of it all. Presence, warmth, connection. Things she hadn't felt in months. Ava tilted her head. "Are you okay?" Amelia nodded, wiping her tears. "Yes, thank you. That was the best part of my day." Ava smiled proudly. Her father gave a quiet nod. They sat there a while, just 3 strangers at a birthday table. But in that moment, something shifted. For the first time in a long while, Amelia Blake didn't feel quite so alone. A week later, Windermere's sky hung heavy with silver clouds. Inside a small studio tucked between a florist and a bookstore, the scent of paint, wet wood, and lavender soap filled the air. The room murmured with the soft sound of brushes on canvas and distant piano music. Amelia sat before her easel, canvas untouched. Her left hand held a brush awkwardly. Her right, once dominant, lay still on her lap. This was her 3rd week in a 6-week art therapy course for stroke survivors and trauma patients. For her, it was less about painting and more about patience. She dipped her brush into pale blue and tried her first stroke. It was shaky, uneven. Her therapist often said, "Beauty is in the effort." Amelia wanted to believe that. The bell above the studio door jingled. A familiar voice rang out. "Daddy." "That's her?" Startled, Amelia looked up. There they were, Ava and her father. Ava waved eagerly through the door, pointing. Behind her, the man, Noah, offered a sheepish smile and a small wave. Amelia's chest tightened, not with fear, but something like relief. Noah spoke with the receptionist. Ava skipped toward the children's art class, a box of crayons in hand. Amelia tried to focus on her canvas, though her hand trembled now. A few minutes later, she felt a presence beside her. "I didn't know you were in this class," Noah said, his voice gentle. "I didn't expect to see you either," she replied with a soft smile. He nodded toward her canvas. "That looks better than anything I could do." She laughed lightly. "It's an abstract mess. But thanks." Silence followed, but it wasn't awkward. It was calm. He didn't ask what happened. He didn't tilt his head in pity. He simply treated her like anyone else. And it felt good. "I drop Ava here every week," he said. "She says it's the best hour of her life." Amelia smiled. "She's something." "She is. I have no idea how she turned out so bright. Maybe because she sees the world without fear. Or maybe," he said softly, "she was just lucky enough to land in a family where love came before judgment." Before Amelia could reply, Ava's voice echoed from the next room. "Daddy, we're painting cats today." Noah grinned. "Duty calls." He turned to go, and Amelia felt something unexpected settle in her chest. A lightness. Later that week, the rain returned. Harder this time. Amelia had gone to her session anyway, though the clouds should have warned her. When class ended, she wheeled to the door and paused. Rain poured down in sheets. Her sweater was too thin. The sidewalk home slick with puddles. And that's when she noticed something new. On her side table, a small box. Inside, a petite lemon tart, just like the one she'd once shared with Ava. On top, a note in careful handwriting. "Still rooting for you." And she stared at it for a long time. And something inside her cracked, not from pain but release. For the first time in ages, she felt seen. Not as the paralyzed daughter of a CEO. Not as a tragedy. Just Amelia. In the weeks that followed, Amelia and Noah kept running into each other. Never planned, but often enough to feel like fate. The cafe. The bookstore. Soft, lingering smiles. Quiet laughter. One crisp afternoon, Amelia was painting at the cafe. Her left hand had grown steadier. She was blending teal and gold when Noah arrived with 2 cups in hand. "Tea might not be enough today," he said, setting one down. "Thank you." He sat beside her. "How's the painting?" She shrugged. "Not my best. It looks honest. That counts." Her smile faded. "It's hard to feel in control. My life used to make sense." Noah nodded. "Mine didn't either. I was a chef, high-end kitchens. Until Ava's mom got sick. Cancer. I left everything behind. After she passed, I raised Ava alone. She was 2. That's a lot. It taught me to slow down. I tried to be everything at once. But Ava, she just needed me to be there." Amelia looked down. "I climbed Bear's Peak alone. It was supposed to be a celebration. I slipped. Everything changed. And when I came home, my mother was gone." Noah didn't speak. His silence was steady. "Safe." Finally, he said softly, "I'm sorry." She looked at him. "You don't sound like you pity me." "I don't. I admire you." She blinked. "Most people look at me and only see the chair or the money." "I see Amelia," he said gently. "Just Amelia." Something in her eased. She didn't respond, but she didn't need to. Later that week, Amelia painted a soft mountain kissed with gold. Her strokes were slow, but sure. As she left the building, Noah stood beneath the street lamp, umbrella in hand. "She's inside," he said, nodding toward Ava's class. "I figured you might want a dry ride." Amelia smiled, surprised, but not startled. And for the first time in a long while, she looked forward, not with fear, but with hope. Part 2, Liam, Anna, and Sophie. They say Christmas is about giving. But sometimes it's about receiving the one thing you didn't know you needed most. Love. It began with a snowstorm, thick and relentless, blanketing the city in silence. The kind of silence that presses on your chest when you're all alone. Liam, a man with wealth but no warmth, sat in his high-rise office, staring through the glass. His assistant had already left. The world outside shimmered with lights, but none of them reached his heart. He closed his laptop, muttering, "Another year. Another empty Christmas." Down on the street, a little girl named Sophie stood huddled in a pink coat that was too thin for the wind. Her mittens were mismatched, her boots worn. She tugged at her mother's hand. "Mom, do you think Santa will find us?" Anna knelt beside her, brushing a snowflake from her daughter's cheek. "Santa always finds kind hearts, baby, no matter where they are." They had nowhere to go. The shelter was full. Again. As they passed a grand building with glowing windows, Sophie stopped. Through the glass, she saw a man, tired eyes, perfect suit, and a sadness that mirrored her mother's. Without thinking, Sophie slipped from her mother's hand and rushed through the revolving door. Liam turned at the sound of tiny footsteps. The security guard moved to stop her, but Liam raised his hand. She stood there, cheeks pink, eyes wide. "Are you all alone too?" she asked. He blinked.
What?
"My mommy says lonely people just need someone to see them. I saw you." Something broke in him then, something cold and old and aching. Anna burst through the doors, out of breath, apologizing. "I'm so sorry, she just..." Liam looked at her. Really looked. Her coat was soaked. She was trembling. Protective.
Strong.
Afraid. "No need to apologize," he said gently. "Please, both of you.
Stay.
At least until the snow calms." It wasn't just a night. He found laughter again. In Sophie's wild stories. In Anna's quiet strength. They found warmth in his kitchen, his library, his heart. And when Christmas morning came, there were no grand gifts. Just pancakes, a new pair of mittens, and 3 people who were no longer strangers.